This is BreakYoBaals coming to you from my sanctuary on the D2R Discord. On this episode, we have a high-level discussion about the new expansion, Reign of the Warlock, and then we talk about what might come next. Enjoy. Alright guys, so here we are. We are joined by Tyreal and Crudesash.
Howdy.
Hello.
First thing I want to say is Vindication, because there were so many people on Reddit and on the Blizzard forums that doubted what I was seeing. You know, maybe I was reading the tea leaves. I could have been wrong. You know, and I could be the one eating my shoes or hats or however you want to phrase it. But I just feel so incredibly vindicated. And it's not like a prideful thing or anything. It's just like I was seeing what was going on and everyone doubted. And to have what happened occur was like just like I felt so good, and not because people were wrong, but because it validated my feelings on stuff. And so with that, let's get into what exactly we're even talking about here, and that is the huge reveal at the Diablo showcase. We talked about it in the speculation episode previously. We had received the ladder update, but that episode was recorded between the ladder reset announcement and the showcase. So we hadn't seen the showcase yet, but I will say that we hosted an event chat on our Discord, on our new Discord. So people were chatting away and we were all watching the stream together. And the sentiment in that chat was just, I even said it, I was like, I'm nervous. I don't know what's going to happen. Nobody does. It could be incredibly disappointing, but it was not. And even on if you watch the chat on YouTube, it was scrolling 1,000 miles a minute, or maybe 1,000 miles a second. Everyone was saying D2R, D2R. All the messages were all about D2R, and it was flying. And the sentiment, like everyone's hopium was so high. And then when they opened with the announcement of Warlock, the Warlock class, and then they showed the two icons for D4 and for Immortal, and then it was like the anticipation was building so hard, and then they showed Diablo 2. Everyone, we not only did we have the chat, but we also had a voice chat going on with a bunch of folks from the Discord, and we lost our minds. Everyone was screaming. We could not believe it. It was incredible. If you watched it, you probably felt the same way. We were just overjoyed with like even just the video, the trailer that started. Like we were screaming when that was going on. And to see Matt Cedarquist, you know, talking about all the updates and stuff, and like it was so amazing. It was so amazing, and they've done such an amazing job. So with that, before we get into all the details, do you guys want to share your thoughts or anything on this?
Yeah, I'll go. The anticipation was so high, it was nearly at a snapping point. Like that tension almost became tangible. And when they dropped the Warlock and it was like Diablo Immortal, like okay, Diablo 4, like all right, and then right in the middle and a little bit lower, and it just dropped Diablo 2 Resurrected. That it snapped. It was nearly primal in that chat.
We were all
And
screaming.
oh, it was nuts. I don't know that like major sporting events had the thrill and that energy that was released in that moment.
Oh man,
like I don't know that World Cup could touch how we felt in that moment.
Yeah, and like the Super Bowl was like boring, and like it was like the game was already boring to begin with, but like you compare that to this and it's not even close. No. I don't think I've been so elated to watch something in maybe forever, except for maybe like when Star Wars prequels came out. Like I can't remember the last time I was just so pumped.
Mind-blowing.
Yeah. Crude, thoughts?
Sure. I didn't get a chance to be a part of that chat or voice chat, and so I watched it alone, but I'm texting my son, and he's, of course, a longtime Diablo player as well, almost as long as me. And, you know, for us, it's interesting. I don't have a deep emotional bond to Warlocks. I actually hate WoW Warlocks specifically and vociferously. But the fact that this game meant so much to us, I mentioned this in the VIP lounge. My son and I don't lack for bonding moments throughout the years, but Diablo is something that is important to both of us and has been important to us for 2 decades. And to see this new thing come and to see the love given to the game that we've loved for so long was a hugely special moment for us. And I think anybody that's a longtime fan of the game had to feel that special moment, they had to feel at that moment that special feeling of not just vindication, but a sense of you brought it home and you brought it back to us, and you gave us this thing. And yeah, it was really, really special and an absolutely awesome moment. One of the highlights of the Diablo life cycle series, if you will, for me.
Yeah, and it's like, honestly, it's just so amazing to have a new class, to have so much additional stuff added after 25 years. You know, they've done a phenomenal job with D2R. I know there's a lot of haters out there, but like it's just amazing. And just one last thing before we move on, and I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but I made a post on the Blizzard forums, and something to the effect of like, we are now getting the D3 that we should have had, right? So D2R is a standalone game. It's not D2, right? It's updated. It's got a lot of new features and stuff already previously to this latest expansion. And really, to me, what it feels like they're doing is they're honoring the fans by doing this, but also we're kind of getting a version of Diablo that is beyond D2. It's not D2 anymore. I would say it's kind of the D3 that we always wanted, but we never got. I don't know how to describe it beyond that. It feels like they're honoring the fans.
Well said. And it's what it feels like as well.
Yeah, for sure. So with that, let's kind of talk about the Warlock class a little bit. Obviously, that is the headline of this. There's a bunch of other stuff, but introducing the new Warlock class, and if you listen to the speculation episode, you'll remember that we had our suspicions. I think there were some leaks that nobody believed because it was so out there. And the number one thing being a new class. We saw a picture of it. I don't know like where that even came from, but I mean, it turned out to be true. We were speculating on what that class might be called. I think we nailed it with Warlock. Not sure how that came about, but we've all at this point have played it in non-ladder, and it's a lot of fun. Like, I don't know how deep we want to get into everything, but like the three different skill trees are very different from each other. But it feels good. It feels natural. It's arguably quite overpowered. I kind of think that that it'll get reined in. Hopefully, we'll see. Like, hopefully before the ladder starts. Maybe they just kind of use this as a kind of a unannounced PTR on non-ladder rather than rolling it out as a PTR on the PTR server, because they kind of did like a shadow announcement, right? Like nobody really knew what was going on and they dropped this huge news. Typically you would do a PTR first before releasing stuff, but they felt comfortable that it was polished enough and tested enough to put it out there and charge for it. You know, maybe they're kind of using this as a way to see what needs to be changed before ladder. We'll see. I don't know how that's going to play out.
I think they're going to let it ride.
You think
for
so?
This ladder. I do. Later in the episode, I think we'll cover it a little bit more, but I think this ladder, they're just going to let it ride because it's this new shiny thing. Everybody, wants to see what this thing is truly capable of. And I think that's a way to get people engaged, is to leave it as it lies right now.
Yeah, and just the sentiment on that is like it's easier to release it and tone it down than it is to release it weak and then have to go back and rework it and make it stronger. Like, right. you want people to feel powerful in the game. Now, obviously there is some pretty significant power creep. Like, people are hitting 100 and 120,000 K damage just on their character alone, not even considering their their summons, the demons that they can summon or bind. Those things are in addition to the flat damage that's being done. So, incredibly overpowered. Maybe they'll let it ride this ladder. Maybe they won't. I guess we'll find out here in a few days. Right. By the time this episode comes out, folks will know. We'll see if they update the patch. And as far as I understand it, there are no official patch notes out yet. There's just stuff that people have collected. There's a list, I think, on the Blizzard forums, and I'm sure they're being collected elsewhere, but I think it was Zax that was putting together kind of a list of all the changes, not just the new stuff that we got surrounding the Warlock class and all the other features that they've implemented, but like bug fixes such as, I think, the Diablo lightning, you can't avoid it by getting in close anymore. I think they fixed that bug, so you can't like cheat it. There's some other stuff too, but there's someone on the official Blizzard forums is keeping track of that on there. Again, I think his name was Zach, so shout out. But
it is Zach.
Yeah. So we'll see. Like I imagine they'll probably drop official patch notes like at or around when the new ladder starts. Anyway, so Warlock class, pretty awesome. It's fun. I did a fire build. That's where I started, and then I moved over to Eldritch. It's really cool to be able to have, like, you can do summoning in fire or summoning in Eldritch. Like, there's enough stat points that you can kind of distribute things, so you're not just specialized into one tree only and you're not able to like do summons as well. I haven't tried going just full summon. I feel like that's kind of at this point it kind of feels like it doesn't make sense to do that, but it's so cool that you can bind like Lister and Hephisto and all those like really top tier demons. It really makes things interesting to be able to get the different auras and special skills and all that stuff. It's really cool.
Yeah, I would agree. I think the summon build, and this is just anecdotal on my part, kind of feels like the C tier build for this class, and that's not to say that's where it would rank overall, but as a Warlock only tier list, that Echoing Blades one, I actually think I seen someone was able to hit 168k damage with that, which is insane when you consider the fire build. Like, I'm hitting 12 to 14k with that, and I'm smoking everything without any issues. So.
And it's clearly even stronger than Mosaic, and they said that Mosaic is not going to exist in its previous form in the future. It's not going to be able to be made anymore. Any of the items, any of the mosaics that were made previously in ladder will exist in non-ladder, but you won't be able to make that exact version in ladder anymore.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious to see how that plays out.
Yeah, because like it'll be really fun to play ladder whether they nerf or not, but at some point I think they do need to bring things in line. Like, not, there's variation for a reason. Not everything needs to be as good as the other, right? Like, the variation makes it fun, so that you have different skills and you have different play styles and stuff. But like, it was with Mosaic, it was very clear that it outclassed everything. Like, it was triple S tier, right? And so it's going to be toned down. Warlock will probably be toned down at some point. We don't know when, but it is a new and exciting different way to play, and I think they've really knocked it out of the park. And of course, there's a lot of folks that are trolling everything, and like I said in the last episode, no matter what Blizzard does, people will complain. But
you'll never make everybody happy. That's just a given.
But here's the beautiful thing: if you don't like this, you can play non-expansion. Like, you can just play D2R, right? You could play Classic. You could even play D2 still. Like, it's available. You can play the old game. It's not like they've taken that away. I think the biggest thing is people are mad because it splits the player base. So, like, most people will be playing Reign of the Warlock, and so, like, the population will move over to that, and so there will be less people playing those other games. But that, I think that's just the nature of things. If they didn't care, they would have just taken away D2R completely, right? And just said, okay, everyone's playing, you don't have a choice. They didn't do that, and I feel like people, no matter what Blizzard did, people would be upset or ungrateful or whatever. But I really think that this was an awesome implementation. So, any other thoughts on Warlock before we move on to the other features?
The only thing I'll add is I didn't really play the Warlock to any great level. I think I just lit level 8 earlier. But the idea of having the ability to use a two-hander with an offhand shield, or in this case the grimoires, was a really unique touch. I like that, and it opens up so many different build possibilities and really powerful things. The Warlock set, the 5-piece set, has a tremendous endgame bonus that really begs for some really different game styles. It comes with a plus 30 to enchant. So just having, your big two-hander on there, and you've got your weapon set up, and now you're enchanting that weapon and doing damage with it. With a plus 30 enchant, which is just gonna last forever. I mean, gosh, a plus 30, you just hit that once, that'll run for 30 minutes. And on top of that, 350% enhanced damage right in the set, which the thing I like about that is it's comparable to shields like Phoenix and its huge damage bonus. So it really offers that diversity. One of the things we talked about a lot on the show about creating endgame items that promote diversity away from only rune words. So I'm really excited about that as a possibility. At some point I will raise a Warlock up and get involved and, get that, find that sweet spot for me about what it's going to be like. But I'm excited about the different play styles that it offers. And, I think, I'd like to see that creativity stretched out in other places, but we can talk about that later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I guess the last thing I'll mention here is one thing I saw was someone had posted in the Discord. I don't remember which channel, but they posted an item that rolled with like barbarian and warlock skills, and I just thought, man, that like changes so much itemization. Like I don't yet know. I don't think we yet know what the implications of that kind of stuff will have. Like, will it spawn additional barbarian builds that we hadn't even considered before? Like, I think there's just like so much we have yet to discover, and I think that's a beautiful piece of this.
They promised us chaos.
Yeah, they did, and chaos delivered. Kudos to Matt Cedarquist and the rest of the Diablo 2 Legacy team. Really
I'll
awesome.
actually use that as a segue to say, from all of us, thank you to the D2R Blizzard staff, because I know in the past, I don't know that it's necessarily the right word, but we've been critical of a few things, and we've been kind of bummed about the fact that these things haven't come to fruition, that there hasn't been a lot of communication.
Yeah.
And I know that those guys probably have, in general, thick skin, but...
Or they just tune it out. They just probably just tune it out completely.
Right, but and I'm sure some of it does kind of get to them, and so... From us, I think it's fair to say we can all agree that us going through that and that uncertainty, like, why are they not discussing with us, in the end was absolutely worth it. This blew our expectations, it blew our collective minds, like, so thank you to the Blizzard team for this, because it was amazing. Yeah,
for sure. Like, would we have reacted the same way if there were, like, if they had talked about the stuff in advance? Probably not.
I don't think so.
No, it was seriously just like, I was in shock. I probably for like a good 2 hours was just like in shock, and I could not believe what they had done. It was just like so awesome. So this ladder is going to be crazy. I'm looking forward to it. I don't typically play ladder. I usually stick to non-ladder, but this is a once-in-a-lifetime thing that I think warrants participating with everybody else. So with that, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we will dig into the other features that came along with the expansion. This episode is brought to you by our D2R Discord and subreddit. Come join our community of over 100,000 combined members. Ask questions, interact with other players, get real-time updates on Diablo Clone and Terror Zones, join voice channels and kill hordes together, enter our giveaways, or just hang out and chat. If you love D2R as much as we do, be sure to check it out. Links in the description. All right, and we are back. So, let's talk about some of the other things that we got with the expansion. First up, and I guess this isn't really in any particular order, just kind of like wrote it out as I thought about it here. But first of all, we did get that Steam release. That was an area of contention. I had posted on Reddit that I thought that we were going to get the Steam release, and everyone kind of poo-pooed that. But it became real. We got, not only did we get additional shared stash tabs, but we also got stackable consumables. We got the 3 tabs for the gems, the consumables, and for runes. That's like obviously huge and major, and no one thought that would ever happen. Like, there was all kinds of reasoning behind people thinking that would never occur from a technical standpoint, that the code couldn't like handle it or whatever. Like, there's just like, you went and looked at Reddit or on the Blizzard forums, and people had all kinds of reasons why that would never happen, or why it didn't make sense. But we got it. And we got the loot filter, which is awesome. And I guess a quick plug, Timinator from our server put together a loot filter that is focused on high value items. So anything that has the potential to be worth a good amount is included, and you can get that. It's exclusively available on our Discord server. We got the Grail tracker, what they're calling Chronicle. That's also a huge addition. Like, we got everything. We got everything that was like major that we ever could have hoped or wished for. In addition to the Grail tracker, we got new items, uniques. We got new facets. We've got new sets. We've got new mechanics for tear zones. We got the Colossal Ancients, which is like the new Ubers. And Crude, you kind of had a thought on that. You want to talk about your thought on the Colossal Ancients?
Well, obviously, I haven't had a chance to try the content out yet, but my thought is the Colossal Ancients, if the fight is going to be on par with Uber Tristram, then I'd like to see the reward be on par with the Hellfire Torch. The current reward, I believe, is an elite unique jewel that provides a lot of the bonuses that we get from the unique facets, but also magic find and some other stats. And that sounds really good, but I would like to see a beefier reward if the Colossal Ancients are going to be the challenge that Uber Tristram provides, or perhaps even harder. So that's what I'd like to see.
Yeah. I mean, there's a chance that that what we're getting right now is a placeholder. They might switch it out later, but we'll see. And along those lines, there's going to be new craftables coming. Apparently, you can go to different sites like Diablo2.io and so forth. Apparently, there are more craftables that have not been enabled yet, but apparently they're in the game files. We kind of touched on the nerfing already, but I guess just kind of to put a bow around that, I do think that eventually they will nerf the Warlock, whether it's in the next few days with ladder, or if it's after a couple ladders or whatever. But I think that's a given. Some people are saying, well, don't nerf it, just buff the other classes. I am highly against that. Again, power creep is real. You could easily add even more difficult stuff. Like, I haven't done Colossal Ancients yet. I hear it's very hard. Is it harder than Ubers? I don't know, but I don't think the answer to that, if you introduce harder challenges, I don't think the answer to that is to just buff all the other classes. Yeah, we could rework some of the uniques and things and whatever, but I'm very, very much against just indiscriminately buffing everything because you've introduced a new class and new, more difficult things. I think basically what needs to happen is they need to like scale that stuff appropriately, and not so much focus on buffing other classes. Although I will say that barbarians do need more love, and I know Crude will love to hear that. But like when you look at things across the board, pretty much all druids too. Druids probably need a little help. I would be cautious about just doing indiscriminate buffs across all the classes.
Well, I think the thing to look at is if they're going to add the in-game events that are occurring. For example, the heralds that come in the terror zones. The heralds are hard and get progressively harder the longer you're in a terror zone, and now we have the ability to activate an entire act as a terror zone and run through all of that content, which means you are going to see multiple heralds and you're going to face and come up against those really tough heralds. And if only one class in the game has the ability to take on those heralds and beat them, that's not sustainable. So one choice has to be made. Either you nerf the heralds to make them level to what the rest of the classes can handle, in which case they run the risk of becoming trivial, or you go with that power creep and raise all the other classes up to where the level that the Warlock is showing us right now, and we've reached the base level of the power creep situation. But is that going to be the future of D2R? I don't know.
Yeah, I think they have to be very careful about how they go about balancing things. I don't have any good suggestions. I think everything's still too new and we're still digesting things. But I think time will tell. We'll see how this ladder goes, if they don't touch anything. But I think it'll become very clear what needs to happen as we move forward.
I want to actually throw my prediction out here too. I know I touched on it a little bit. I 100% think they're going to let it ride for this ladder. I think next ladder is going to be when the changes actually start to roll. I think that they're either going to nerf the Warlock or bring the other classes to heel, so to speak. Ideally, how I would like to see it is kind of a mix of the two. Find like that happy middle zone, bring the Warlock down a little bit because it's clearly overpowered. As much fun as I'm having with it, it is so strong. And bring the other classes to meet in that middle zone, and that's gonna take more for some of them. Like you brought up, the barbarians, the druids, gonna be needing a little more work. Assassins, if they keep Mosaic when that whole thing comes to be, are probably actually need to be brought down as well, with a rework. So I think a happy middle ground where there's some nerfs and some buffs would be the best way to handle it.
And like, I guess the last thing I'll say on it is that the one thing I don't want to have happen is that everything just is too easy. Like that's it. Like I want there to be some level of difficulty associated with it. Otherwise, then we're just playing D3, where you can, any class, any spec, like you can wreck everything, and you're just mindlessly doing stuff. Whereas, if there is difficulty, you have to make decisions, either trade-offs for what you're actually doing. Like you can't have all of the best everything. It has to be done tastefully.
Yes.
What that looks like, I don't know yet.
Hell still needs to be really hard. It needs to be what it's always been. It needs to be really hard the first time you go through it, and then you learn how to farm it, and you get better and better. But even with a really good character, with a really strong character, hell can still mess you up,
Mhm.
and it needs to stay that
Yeah,
way.
and even if it's not just hell, even if it's tear zones with the heralds and the colossal ancients, like somewhere along the lines that really needs to scale up. And maybe I'm like completely wrong in that, because I haven't done colossal ancients yet. Maybe it is really hard, and then it's fine. But I feel like we have to still maintain a level of difficulty somewhere. That's all.
For sure.
All right. I guess we kind of want to touch on what's next. In that we know that Blizzard has said that they're not done yet. What does that mean? I don't know. I still think that we might actually get somehow, maybe it was contingent upon the game, the expansion doing well. I don't know if there were any stipulations attached, business decisions internally, whatever. But I still think we might get some new zones. I don't think it's completely out of the question that we might get a finished Act 4 or an Act 6, or even maybe if it's not a full-blown Act 6, maybe it's something new areas, something beyond just like maps, or beyond portals to like rifts or something like that. Something completely new. I think that is definitely in the cards at this point. So, do you guys have any thoughts on that?
I think this, with the drop that they just did, this it could be anything coming down the pipeline. Could be nothing, could be everything. I mean, with the way things went, the sky's the limit on what could be coming.
Yeah, the fact that they've blown everyone's minds with this, again, of course, there's internal business decisions that have to be made based on metrics and how well everything sells, whatever. But I have to imagine that they're not sitting around a table saying, all right, well, that was fun, let's move on to the next thing. They're probably having serious conversations around like what more they can do.
And I think the reaction, which seems overwhelmingly positive, got really high ratings on Steam, and the fan reaction to the showcase was obviously tremendous. If you look online, just go online and look at the game list, and you'll see so many more people playing right now, even non-ladder, when there's not really anything stake-wise at it. So I think they're definitely going to see more stuff. At a minimum, I would think we might finally see a true full pass on improving uniques and set items to bring them in line with the rune words and give us that diversity that I explained before. So I think we're going to see something like that. I think that's pretty fair to say, and I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that we do get some new acts, or dare I say it, a D2R expansion, a full blown expansion.
Yeah,
I think it's very
possible.
Like,
and I think that if they do that, it'll just be included. I don't think that they'll like have additional DLC type stuff. They've treated this pretty uniquely, and I wouldn't be surprised if they just, like, say at BlizzCon, announce that Act 6 is available today. Like, it could happen.
Right.
So
it could, yes.
I'd literally cry.
Yeah. Oh man, the possibilities. And then I guess the last thing I wanted to mention here is that there is a known issue with the Grail. Maybe this will be resolved by the time this comes out, but apparently if you pick up a Grail item from any item racks, so like if an item rack drops a unique or set item, when you ID it, it completely resets your chronicle or your, any progress you've made on your grail, it wipes it. So that's kind of a big deal. I mean, it's good that this was found now rather than later. Hopefully they're able to fix it before the ladder starts with a patch. But I think that's the biggest or most well-known issue right now. There may be others, but I felt like that was worth mentioning so people were aware.
It definitely seems like the most disruptive for sure right now.
Wait, you don't want to talk about that other big bug?
Oh, what's that?
That barbarians didn't get seismic slam?
Here we go. We don't have time for this discussion. No, yeah, I'm all for buffing barbarians. Like, there are some builds, like barbarian builds, that are good and that completely destroy stuff, but I guess generally speaking, that requires really high-end gear, and like, for example, simple thing, barbarian leap, there should be splash damage. There is. Well, but it should be significantly more.
Right. Yes.
There's, I know you're a big fan of cleave, but like, there should be splash damage on barbarian skills.
Right.
It's just like, it's common sense. I honestly think we'll get that, but
I do too. Now I do, because they introduced a new class with new items. I have a lot of faith. I had faith that we were going to get new stuff, and it happened. So if you think I'm going to lose faith in my barbarians, absolutely not. The sons of Ariat will rise again.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's totally within the realm of possibility. All right. So with that, before we close, do you guys have anything else to say?
I do. I want to say, going with this, that this, anything is possible at this point, because, and I stated this when that right after the announcement came, if you had given me literally a billion guesses on what was going to happen in that showcase, I don't know that I would have got it or even come close. And that just tells me that literally anything is possible at this point. And that's exciting.
For sure. Agreed. Crude, anything from you?
I think I've covered everything. I'm just excited to see what the future holds.
Fair enough. All right. And with that, before we close, I'd like to give a shout out to our community supporters. These are folks that are either subscribers or supporters of the podcast. If you'd like to become a subscriber or supporter, you can do that on our website. It's stayawhileandlistenpodcasts.com, and you can subscribe, and that will get you episodes 2 days early on our website, as opposed to YouTube, and then all the other platforms will be available 2 days later. So that's if you subscribe. But these folks are honorary community supporters. They're the first few folks that have supported us, and we just want to say thank you to Krassel, Vifron, Uniquesash, Trucker Ducky X95, Jonks, and PlaNATEtary. Thank you so much. We really appreciate your support.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
All right, and so with that, we will close out this episode. Thank you all for listening. Your presence honors us, and if you enjoy our content, please consider joining our community on Reddit and Discord. And as always, farewell. Until next time.